Since the earthquake shocked Taiwan on February 6, Tzu Chi volunteers in Tainan quickly mobilized, with nearly 100 volunteers reporting for duty in the Tainan Jing Si Hall kitchen. They work together to ensure rescue workers and family members of disaster survivors can enjoy hot meals to stay strong in this stressful time.
It's barely 7 in the morning, yet sounds of chopping echoes throughout the Tainan Jing Si Hall. A young volunteer has joined the ranks of Tzu Chi volunteers today to prepare the food.
做饭给别人吃。
你知道你做饭是要给谁吃吗？
救人的。消防员。
The earthquake really shocked everyone. The children are coincidentally on winter break, so we have canceled our traveling plans, and he's here with me, very willingly to help. He also feels this is more meaningful than going on a trip.
Each dish is filled with the blessings and love of all those involved. In the immediate aftermath of the earthquake, Tzu Chi volunteers knew where they were needed the most. In the beginning, nearly 40 volunteers shouldered the task of kitchen work, and soon each day, nearly 100 kitchen volunteers came to help.
We're here at 5 a.m. After we eat breakfast, we begin to prepare food for others. In Hualien, we cut our vegetables into small pieces, and we continue to do so here as well.
Each step is carried out with the utmost care. In the mornings, volunteers prepare breakfast for around 500 people. As for lunch and dinner, together it's close to meals for 1,000. The number of meals needed varies at times, so the prep work ahead of time is most important.
We prepare the ingredients ahead of time, such as radish and cauliflower. If they aren't washed, they can be kept in the fridge for a while. We peel and cut the radish so they are ready for use at any time.
Finally, volunteers fill the bento containers with hot dishes, ensuring those on the receiving end of the meals fill their stomachs with something warm.
Since day one when the earthquake hit Taiwan, funeral directors across the island have converged in Tainan, offering their services. Many of the morticians have set aside their families during the Chinese New Year holiday to come to offer their assistance.
In the aftermath of the February 6th earthquake in Taiwan, bodies of the deceased continue to arrive at the mortuary in Tainan. To undertake such a large body count, morticians from across the island have also arrived.
After the earthquake happened, I turned on the TV to follow the news. We look out for disasters and are on standby to help wherever needed.
所有人员有来自台北，有来自桃园，有来自彰化。
We have people from Taipei, Taoyuan, Zhanghua, and Kaohsiung. We got the notice and they started arriving at 11 p.m. on February 6th.
A dozen of morticians, many of whom are mothers, are here as volunteers.
It's quite heartbreaking actually, as many of those who have come through are children. Many of our team members are mothers, so when emotions get the best of us, we step off to the side to cry and then come back to work.
The children's clothes, which they have prepared, which include hats and socks, are more gender neutral. Knowing what to prepare comes from not only experience, but the mindset of a mother.
On the first day, we can only lay some of the children to rest in large towels. It was quite sad. We then asked nearby friends to see if they could help find some clothes for the children.
We are here until the end. We will handle all the bodies before we leave.
I just want to do my part to help, despite the holiday. It's not for monetary gain.
These morticians work around the clock as they only want to ease the spirits of the recently deceased and the loved ones the deceased left behind.
Lo Kun Tiun, an entrepreneur from Johor Bahru, Malaysia, used to put making money a priority. After he saw the selfless giving of many Tzu Chi volunteers, he was moved to put his love into action. He found enough donors to fund 600 reusable lunch containers, which he donated, in addition to food ingredients to a local charity organization to make vegetarian lunches for orphanages and senior homes.
Here in Malaysia, 600 reusable containers are heading towards a local charity organization as they provide daily free lunches to orphanages or senior homes. This was made possible all thanks to Lo Kun Tiong.
I asked a few friends and family to help the cause. In total, I canvassed enough money for about 600 reusable lunchbox containers.
In 1 month, we use up over 10,000 polystyrene disposal lunch boxes. So in the long run, this is a way for us to cut costs.
Lo is a produce wholesaler and recognizes much of Tzu Chi's ideals in helping the poor, thus also donates some of his vegetables to help. In doing so, he has also helped spread some of Tzu Chi's ideals, such as a healthy vegetarian living and recycling efforts.
Polystyrene is something that won't degrade in 1,000 years. It's nice to know these lunch containers are reusable and people won't accidentally ingest toxins as well.
Lo began donating to Tzu Chi some 10 years ago, and after his further participation in Tzu Chi, he finally understood the importance of personally partaking in good deeds.
I have been inspired by other volunteers who have devoted their life to doing Tzu Chi's work. Like those doctors who venture into disaster zones to help the sick. It was what moved me the most.
After Lo began his volunteer training, he also diligently attends the morning Dharma lessons with Master Zhen Yan. Last year, with the blessing of Master Zhen Yan, Lo rented out a storefront to the Jingsi Books and Cafe for the price of 1 ringgit. He continues on his Tzu Chi path and works towards the betterment of society.
Next, we meet an elderly recycling volunteer in Malaysia who found new meaning in life through volunteering with Tzu Chi. 82-year-old Chan Ah Moy was a recipient under Tzu Chi's care for 6 years. Last year, her family left her in the care of nursing home when she fell ill. Tzu Chi volunteers then tried looking for her. After Chen recovered and returned home, she now volunteers at Tzu Chi's recycling station 3 days a week.
In Malacca, Grandma Chan Ah Moy is grateful to be chatting with everyone. She was abandoned at a nursing home last year because of her illness.
I can only blame it on my misfortunes.
Chan, who was a donating member of Tzu Chi, later became a care recipient for 6 years. When the volunteers lost track of her, they looked for her anxiously.
She looked haggard and old when we found her.
I was really happy. I did not expect the Tzu Chi sister to be looking for me. Many volunteers from the recycling station also went to visit me, so I was deeply touched.
I am happy for her seeing her coming back. I am happy for her, an 80-some-year-old senior, for being reborn.
I could not sleep at night, and I told the Buddha, please let me get up and stay healthy so I can go recycling. Besides recycling, there's nothing I can do.
82-year-old Grandma Chan helps with recycling 3 days a week now. When she was certified as Tzu Chi's recycling volunteer at the year-end blessing ceremony, it meant a new start for her.
Recycling makes me happy. I am grateful to see how the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters treat me like family. I'll always keep it in mind. If I can do it, you can do it too. Keep it up. Go, go, go.
Since preparations for winter aid distribution in Yunnan began in July of last year, Tzu Chi volunteers in Kunming conducted preliminary home visits and discovered a solitary senior. Upon learning of his situation, a group of volunteers then brought them in rice and offered future assistance.
He doesn't have a house number because he doesn't have any ID or a home registry. We learned this when we came in late October to check the village.
Without an identity number, he can't apply for aid. On his third visit to the village, Tzu Chi volunteer Xie Weishao discovered Mr. Zhang. Seeing the plight of the 78-year-old living all by himself, volunteers knew they had to do something. Xie Weishao reported the situation and Tzu Chi mobilized. Volunteers driving to the winding hills over the bumpy roads to visit a small village on Huangshui Shan. Viewing Mr. Zhang's home, his impoverished living conditions are clear. Neighbors said he has been suffering from illness for the past 2 days. Unfortunately, Mr. Zhang is not at home. The volunteers asked neighbors to please help look after him. A neighbor, Mr. Ding, who must care for his own disabled wife, still shows a lot of concern for Mr. Zhang.
First thing is, we're delivering some relief goods to him today. After this, we'll talk to the head of the town because we've got to find an official means to deliver care to him. We are enthusiastic about Tzu Chi activities, like the winter aid distribution. If people need something, we want to help, whether it's money, labor, or moral support. Volunteering is a way to consider compassion and then practice it in one's daily life.
This group of volunteers will confer with the local government upon their return in hopes they can recover his identity number. That way, he may continue to receive assistance in the future. Tzu Chi will certainly return to check on the senior.
Continuing our reports on global medical services provided by Tzu Chi International Medical Association, we'll take a look at Tzu Chi's medical mission in the Philippines. While the Philippines has become more internationally competitive economically, 1/4 of its population still lives below the poverty line. Seeing how the impoverished people lack access to medical care, the TIMA Philippines chapter has been providing cataract surgeries and free clinics for numerous residents in need.
Once known for its overseas labor, the Philippines has become economically competitive with the return of Filipino workforce.
I worked as a sailor for 5 years and saved up to buy a Jeep, so I drive to make a living now.
According to the Global Competitiveness Report released by WEF, in 2015, the Philippines has risen 33 places since 2010, when it was ranked 85th among 140 countries in the world. It has become one of the countries with the most abundant youth workforce. Despite such improvement, the Philippines remained among the ranks of low-middle income countries, with a GNI per capita of $3,470, according to the World Bank. 1/4 of the Philippines' population of 100 million people are considered impoverished, and the gap between rich and poor is the largest among Asian countries. The rate with which lives are improving for the impoverished people is far behind the country's economic growth.
I cannot see clearly and have difficulty walking.
In the Philippines, 590,000 people are blind, and 80% of the blindness is related to cataracts. The blindness can be avoided with the provision of cataract surgery. Nevertheless, many patients delay their treatment due to poverty, leaving age-related and congenital cataracts untreated and more prevalent among younger patients.
He could not see for 5 years. He does not get enough nutrients. He looks older than his age, 65. We are about the same age, but he looks much older.
Dr. Antonio Say has been treating the impoverished patients for 18 years at free clinics and his 4 clinics. Back in 2013, Nida Potential's family was devastated by Typhoon Haiyan. Fortunately, Tzu Chi volunteers reached out and turned the 19-year-old girl's life around.
I felt like it was the end of the world when I could not see. Now that I regained my vision, I can start a new chapter of my life.
A cataract surgery cost between 40,000 to 50,000 pesos, which is about an impoverished family's total income in half a year. The Tzu Chi Philippines Free Clinic Center in Manila was given permission to conduct eye surgeries after obtaining a license from the Department of Health in 2007. Therefore, the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter is among the few Tzu Chi chapters that were established to first carry out medical mission.
Whenever there is a great disaster, Tzu Chi is always there. So we are not here just because to alleviate. We are here also to support.
The free clinics not only cure diseases, they also change the fate of the underprivileged families.
Miracle. At first, there are two. They have to carry two. In fact, I have carried both of them. It's so heavy. And when they come back, it's already separated. Oh, it's a miracle.
Once you see the smiles on the patients' faces, your fatigue will be gone. They smile from their heart and appreciate us, so I do not feel tired at all.
While poverty and illnesses often come in pairs, the medical professionals have relieved the suffering of countless people in need of medical care and tapped into the wellspring of love and gratitude in them.
While most people are off enjoying the Chinese New Year holidays, some families are having a different kind of reunion by volunteering together at Tzu Chi's recycling station. An elderly couple in Taichung invited their daughter and grandchildren to join them in recycling on the third day of the Lunar New Year. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.